Good morning, everyone. Sorry. Hope you're all doing well today. Let me just get into a few things here. We'll take a look at some of the news, right? We had State of the Union yesterday, Joe Biden, and then NFP this morning. What else do we have? We had market movement yesterday. We're trading a new all-time high right now in the S&P 500. So a few different things to talk about today as we get ready. So let me just open up here. Some stuff. I can probably make this smaller where you don't need to see that much of my face. Sorry, let me just open some things up. So, it is March 8th, right? Happy International Women's Day. It's Friday. It's 9 a.m. Eastern time here. And let me just share this. Yeah, and I hope everyone's doing well. Morning. We just opened up our room here, and I'll talk about a few different things, because yesterday we had the State of the Union. We had non-farm payrolls, right, the jobs report. We'll start off with that. We had the non-farm that was due earlier today, about 30 minutes ago. You can see some volatility, right? Ultimately, we held one of the key areas. We'll go through the trading plan for the ES and the NASDAQ futures. I didn't touch this. Well, actually I did, but I didn't really want to trade this on this news, but had a little move on it. Leaning, right, a lot more bullish realistically today, and I'll explain why, but it was expected to show solid growth in February, the jobs numbers. Remember, we had the non-farms, we have the average hourly earnings, we have, what else was it, the unemployment rate as well. But the head figure is going to be the non-farm payroll report, right, the jobs numbers itself. So following up on a pretty blockbuster print in January with the labor market strength and robust GDP growth, the Federal Reserve can likely afford to be patient in making the next move on interest rates, it seems. So the government statistics around jobs and inflation are becoming less insightful. So for those who are macro inclined, continuing unemployment claims are more useful to track the non-farm payroll, say a few different analysts. So in today's report, the U.S. unemployment rate came out at 3.9% actually versus the 3.7% expected and the prior. The non-farm payrolls number, 353 in January. The expected was 200,000 and what came out was 275,000. So inherently a little more bullish, but or I guess a good sign, but it puts a lot of strain on the tighter job market realistically. So the average hourly earnings in line with expectations, slightly lower than the prior. So those numbers came out. We held our ground realistically for a upside move, right? We traded into a new all-time high, so naturally things were better than expected. So markets are now rallying. We're into uncharted territories. I have a region, right, that trades very, very close to where we are, around 51.88. Realistically, that's a region, and 5200, 5220-ish is another area above. So the main topic of conversation, the main news that came out from yesterday was President Biden's State of the Union address last night, which was broadcast from Capitol Hill at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And there was plenty to debate in terms of his economic record, with familiar partisan finger-pointing on many of the data points, especially in regards to jobs, trade, inflation, and federal deficits. So the large audience and viewership also offered Biden the ability to sell voters a second term, and perhaps of more interest to the market, what his platform would include for the country's heads in the 2024 general election. So in terms of taxes, healthcare, housing, lowering cost, manufacturing, there's a lot of different things that we could extrapolate from this that we're going to take a look at. From taxes, one of the main things that he said, it's time to raise the corporate minimum tax to at least 21% so every big corporation finally begins to pay their fair share. I also want to end the tax breaks for big pharma, big oil, private jets, and massive executive pay. And this is why I've proposed a minimum 25% for billionaires. Just 25% that would raise $500 billion over the next 10 years. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400K will pay an additional penny in federal tax. Right? These are just quotes that I'm reading out. In terms of healthcare, you talked about this year. Medicare is negotiating lower prices for some of the costliest drugs on the market that treat everything from heart disease to arthritis. Now it's time to go further and give Medicare the power to negotiate lower prices for 500 drugs over the next decade. So that will not only save lives, but it will save taxpayers another $200 billion apparently. I want to cap prescription drugs costs at $2,000 a year for everyone. In terms of housing, right, this is one of the biggest things that's been a little more volatile and pulling back over the recent years. I want to provide an annual tax credit for that will give Americans $400 a month for the next 2 years as mortgage rates come down to put towards their mortgage when they first buy their home, right, their first home, or trade up for a little more space. My administration is also eliminating title insurance fees for federally backed mortgages, and for millions of renters, we're cracking down on big landlords who break antitrust laws by price fixing and driving rents up. I've cut red tape so that more builders can get federal financing, which is already helping build a record 1.7 million housing units nationwide. Now past my plan to build and renovate 2 million affordable homes and bring rents down. So those are some of the main topics of interest that kind of jumped out from the State of the Union speech and didn't necessarily have too much of an effect on the market. We've still been holding up a lot of this upside momentum. In terms of other news, I don't necessarily see anything or too much on the docket for today. What we have today, we don't have much. So we had earnings yesterday, which is interesting. Nvidia running. We had these calls from Wednesday end of day, 9:50 calls, right? A little YOLO into the end of the week from in our room, and right now, right, these are in the money. So those did pretty well. What else? Costco and Avgo yesterday, Broadcom, I should say, reported earnings. Costco pulled back very aggressively. I don't necessarily think that Costco options are too. I don't think the spreads are that tight, so I'm gonna watch this one. But this thing has a potential for a gap fill. Yeah, I know we gapped down pretty aggressively, but I don't think a lot of this bearishness lasts. Avgo is another one, right? This been running with semis recently, and earnings yesterday plummeted only to come back to where we're sitting at over the past few days of rotation to this massive high after a huge run on AVGO Broadcom over the past few months here. So kind of just rotating these highs, doing pretty much what Nvidia's been doing, and just constantly pumping higher. So those are two things of news, I guess, newsworthy events that we might want to consider. But all in all, as we look at this, it's important to check out how this market is playing out, what the opportunities are today for the futures front on the ES and the NASDAQ. Now, this has been a harder week, right? Let's not kid ourselves. I think it's been a more difficult week to trade. This thing's been running into all-time highs. Fairly directionless for a lot of the part, right? What I mean by that is you got to pull back into a distribution lower, you got to run back higher, you get this muddled move. Yesterday we opened above a lot of the key areas, presenting ourselves with, or presenting, the market was presenting us with expected expansive move. Something similar is shaping up right now. It's Friday after breaching into new all-time highs. We've ran back above these key distributions. We're over the news, the non-farm payrolls, we're past the macro events, we're past a lot of these things that haven't been able to destroy the market today. So in essence, what I could see for today, I should probably record this on what I could see today for the S&P 500. Realistically, we're through a lot of the key levels. We're very close to some of the target regions I have above, around that 5188, 5190, and then I have 5200, which is a huge level, and also 5220 is a main target that I have on the S&P 500 futures. The way I see this yesterday, what had transpired, if we look at this chart quickly, because it helps us zero into the levels that we may not have seen on a chart like this, but there's very heavy volume into yesterday's highs that traded around the 65 area. 65 area, you can see it's littered with massive buying, right? Stuck traders between 65 and 68, just huge orders. Lo and behold, today pre-market, same area, same type of movement. Massive orders coming in here and sweeping. You can see here on this DOM at 68, right? 4,000 positive delta. 65 has 6,000 positive delta from yesterday's trading session. Same shit into that area. So this is a huge block. Yeah, okay, we're about like, what is that, like 6-8 points? Jeez, hold on, give me a second here. Sorry. No. Да, само снимката, извиня. Ами, да, всичко направо. Както и превода. Да, точно. И ми, а, ако можете, нали, до вторник да се случи това, добре. Добре, мерси. Чао, чао, Лектен. Sorry about that. I have a few things in Bulgaria that need lawyer work, and these calls are important. Anyways, um, so the based on the order flow and the orders that were coming in, um, 68, 65, massive buyers. We're like a few points above those areas right now, and if we're going to be looking for shallow pullbacks for that continuation of the upside, there's decent bets that we could find some kind of support structure there. We have a minor area down at 50, 52, but I don't want it to continuously come down, trade into that area. I'd rather it just hold off into the higher supports if we're going to see this trend move realistically on the S&P 500. That's mainly what I'm looking at. You can see right here if we can draw up a few different things. We had this larger distribution that traded a lot over the last few weeks, right? When we broke above it yesterday pre-market, very strong rally. You can see the tail here, the accumulation of volume from the prior session, holding out very well, right? We start running through this. When we come into the top band of the distribution, we have an accumulation of volume that helps spring prices back up. We get through a lot of those barriers where we had strong buying at 05, at 10, right? When we exceed above those levels, the expectation is for a larger pop to the upside. So yesterday's session, we just open above this large distribution, kind of into this minor area. Pullbacks, we open into it, right? Realistically, you have some immediate resistance around this higher 40, but pullbacks welcome into that low 30 where that prior POC was to expand. I'm looking at a similar situation here on the overnight session so far. We've held pretty much in and around the top band of that distribution after that news. Realistically, how I'd like to see this play out, we have these lows from the overnight session into that profile with heavier volume that's not the POC that wraps us in and around 50 to 52. So this becomes for me like a pivotal area. As long as we can hold that, there's still potential for the longs. Early longs are going to want to hold between, I'd say, 64 and 68 on the S&P 500 futures. So we'll see how that shapes up. We still have how much time? We still got about 15 minutes, give or take, until the market opens. So I'm just going to be waiting for that to transpire. On the NASDAQ, right, NASDAQ, I think we're just shy of an all-time high, right? Not too close, not too far realistically. So when I'm looking at this, we have a larger distribution that sits up here. I think the all-time high, if I'm not mistaken, maybe I'm mistaken, but I think it's around 380 on the NASDAQ realistically. We have this distribution low right here that sits, that traded, I think on the overnight, we're creating a lot of volume over here. So I would rather see prices, right? If prices are going to defend, they're going to defend the 290 for that next push higher. Otherwise, right, the key level from yesterday into that 220 to 230, right? Other than that, we start kind of flipping back down and that pivot kind of gets extinguished. But I think those are two key areas for the NASDAQ to see if we can actually break and run through this all-time high, because the S&P, it's doing its job pretty well, but the NASDAQ in itself, right, we're not necessarily running through those highs. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'm looking to buy some pullbacks to begin the session today and see how that goes. And we'll go from there. Steve, more coffee. It's not coffee. It's special Colombian marching powder. I just didn't look at the market this morning, didn't trade it at all. Like, I was just like, I've re-energized myself after a week like this, after a few trading days that are tough. Like, you scrape by, you come out on top, or you come out slightly red, or whatever the case is. You're just mentally drained. Like, you just need some time away, recoup, review the journals, review the trades, and then come back to it with a new mental vigor of, hey, you know what, like, whatever we get today, I'm going to try to be as focused as possible so I can trade that exact plan, exact system, so there's a better chance that I do well, right? Why is my mic always screwed on this? Can you guys hear me better on YouTube now? Journaling super important. Reviewing it. That's one of the big things, especially after a tough week like this week. Like scraped by somewhat this week, did decent on some days, uh, got lucky on others. Realistically, that's how I see it. And just rejuvenating yourself with a review and focusing on what all the basics that got you to where you are is very important. Rather than coming into this, you taking the emotionality, taking the thoughts and the feeling from prior days that you might have not done so well and taking that as like a revenge into the coming days, it's not going to go well. It's so weird that I don't know, like increase the volume on YouTube because I don't know, I feel like it should be fine. Fatty Fatty's getting new fake teeth. Someone was asking me, how do I get the higher price if we haven't traded there yet? You have like, you can look at gamma as well. You can look at different option stuff as well. So I'm kind of pinpointing from some of those regions. Oh, my neck.
Morning, Trade Pros. Morning,
Morning,
Victor.
Fatty.
I
How you
logged
doing?
in, and the first thing I hear is Fatty's getting new teeth. Like, nice. Which part of the market analysis I see? That's what a boring looking sideways type of market. NFP this morning, sideways. I'll give this thing like two shots for the long, 66 to 68 right here. And one more shot, like around 54, 52. That's it. As Vic was saying, like,
Bro, just shoot this long.
usually
It's Friday. We're going back to highs. I'll look if we can pull back somewhere and if they just start bidding and I'm just gonna get long everything. Like if it goes under like 50-47, like whatever. I wanna like I'm leaning a bit long. That doesn't mean I'm gonna blindly buy everything realistically. For people on YouTube, if you have volume issues, honestly, most people don't. Everyone says it's fine. Everything it's as loud and all the settings are fine now on my YouTube. So at that point, like either close it down and open it again. I don't know, but if it's the same shit, I can't help you. And then get some of these and draw on them. Let's see, where is that screenshot shit? Markets open. A few minutes. Know if you have any questions leading into it. For everyone that's second. The dog might be barking at some point today.
Does he have a schedule?
Yeah, man, at the worst times.
Start working. Start trading.
Literally, like at the worst times.
He's alerting you. He's like, you're about to eat our stuff but not noticing it. He's your friend.
Yeah, it was alerting me a lot yesterday. It's like, stop, please. Whatever you're doing,
See,
don't
if
keep
you
doing
would have
it.
listened, you would have saved yourself some money,
I
right?
would have
There you go.
honestly, yeah.
No.
Stupid dog. She's just been getting along everything.
He's been barking his heart out. Like,
It's
come
been
on.
barking this week a
We should
lot,
have just.
man. It's been barking this week.
God sends you signals, brother. It's just that human chooses not to listen.
You're right, actually. Oh man, I'm just doing a few things before work gets open. If you have questions, let me know. But one of the main things someone asked was, why is TradingView trading a billion points higher? Contract rollover, people. Right, we're in that period. Um, so I wouldn't. I actually don't know how many contracts I've traded for each. That's a good question that I just asked myself. Um,
Like the volume? 300,000.
yeah, but I want to compare it to the
The new.
yeah, the new contract. One second, I gotta find it.
Yeah, shit, it's a good question.
Ah, shit, where is it? The yeah, so right now the H has 360, the M has 150,000. So I'm not rolling over today. Like most likely rolling over next week. Long 5167 pray. Pretty much. Long these mid 60s and pray. That's the plan. Ay, 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 ay. Alright, everything should be good to go at this point. So I think like next Monday, realistically, next Monday, Tuesday, at some point the M volume is going to be heavier um, than the H that we're currently trading, and then at that point you're gonna want to trade the next contract. Yeah, the M. So ESM 24, whatever your configuration for the quote is. Well, my screen's not frozen. Should be fine. Here's the open. Ding ding ding. We'll rebid into that 65 right away. Let's see. We open pretty much right at the area that I want to see these buyers hold. It's Friday. Like trying to jump on this off the open right off the rip is doable, but might be a risky business. You can see here they're throwing in a lot of bids on the passive orders. Realistically, I kind of want to get long, but all these bids that are getting thrown in right now, they're going market sell. Let's see if they hold this 65. They're holding a decent bid, you know, like let's see, you're what, 1 minute off the open here? It's a riskier move. I might try and get along some of these. Maybe if I drop this entry somewhere here. Maybe I'm too late on this though. Where's this Nas? Nas, I think traded. Nas just shy of that 290. Let's see. I didn't get filled in shit, did I? Hmm. Ha ha ha. I even tried to fill in a little higher. I cancel these orders for now. My stops are like 3 points on the ES. Like I'm not. I don't want to risk that much. I'm trading smaller size today since the last week was a little more difficult. I'd say I wasn't like still watching these. I might like sprinkle some on like smaller contracts, right? If I just start buying micros from 67 down to 63. Nice, Brian. You filled 300 on the Nasdaq. Shit. I couldn't get filled on that. These bastards.
I'll come back. I'll come back.
I don't know. Something about it. Like I don't really. I'm not that like obsessive or like I guess superstitious around market timing, like times in the market, like different sessions. Like right off the U.S. Open, like a minute off or something, just like for some reason, just I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way, and I get like less active, less aggressive.
I get less aggressive when I win. Like if I have like two winning trades, aggressiveness goes out. I win. But when I'm losing, I'm like
When you're losing,
fuck
bet more,
myself.
bet more.
Is that healthy? I
No,
think that's how it should be. No, right?
I couldn't get along this shit for shit. Nvidia like in the money. That was it. I have
It
some like
wasn't the long that we wanted.
yeah, it's done. We're finished. I have some like sprinkled little MES, little like little fills, but I wanted to fill that ES core. 88, decent target for today, but like I'm not gonna buy 70 right now. Like they missed my fill on the minis by like a few ticks. Maybe I waited a little too long, but the bid was pretty nice. Honestly, they kept just absorbing it. Let's see. Nasdaq took a pretty big beatdown on that last drop. All right, let's see here. We're coming back into the region. I haven't seen like that much aggression on the sell side on this pullback, to be honest. What's a Greg Ribba? Or who I should say. Oh, the, is Greg Ribba the bet more guy? Bet more. Yeah, the bet more guy. It's an interesting open here. I'm gonna look to fill some NAS down into that 290, 285. Now, so what I'm seeing on this S&P here is like they keep bidding at higher prices into this like 68. You know what? I'm gonna start putting some limits out like this. Like it's, I don't know. They're a little spread out. My average is probably gonna be around that 67 area. I'll probably have like stops like this. If I can get filled here. Very spread out. Like alternatively, if you don't want to spread them, you buy 68, and if 68 gets stopped, you buy 65. Yeah, Nasdaq did fail to make a new high. I'm looking at that as well, Sahaj, but I don't really. That doesn't. I don't know. Doesn't really concern me right now. Why do I never mark it in? Because I'll get a shit fill. I guess it's better than getting no fill at all, as currently. But usually, if I mark it in, like by the time it actually enters the market, you're filled like 4 ticks, 2 points away from where you want to get filled. I felt like some shitty micros on this instead of the stupid ass minis. That's very annoying for me, but it is what it is. Everything's running into highs. Fuck, I'm not long this. On these, Jesus. I doubt I'll get filled at this point. This shit's running like a mofo. This is the one time that I wish I just marked it in. Mike, it might be a sign. If your computer implodes off the open. How many trades a day do I take? It depends. I'd say on average probably like 5. I think it's a fair average. Lately, more. Lately, more, unfortunately. I personally don't use the footprint chart like that much, realistically. They're okay, but they're not needed, and they're for specific things. I find if I want to see where people might be getting trapped, if I want it from a better visual. And I'm not long this like mid-60s, sons of bitches. And it just keeps rallying like this. Shallow order flow pullbacks. I haven't seen any of them too much, like where you see like a big buyer stepping in. going constant a bit here. Brian got like 3,000 points on Nasdaq here while I'm trying to pick areas out like an idiot. Looking at this, you have these like 65, 68 massive buy deltas there. I kind of struggled to fill, honestly. I don't know why. I don't know. But right now, like, if I'm looking for an area for the shallow pullback, because, like, if I look at this DOM and, like, the order flow that's going on right now is just more bullish, realistically. I don't really see much of any selling. The only thing that I see selling right now is Nas is pulling back a bit. It's okay. No one's selling this market, just trying to pick spots. A decent amount of accumulated volume just printed into this like 76 area. They're trying to get long more there. We're getting expansive moves, right? New all-time high just printed. You just keep buying. 80 trades now. $800 on the buy. And as I filled a few, right? Nothing crazy. And that was kind of saving me here, up 50 points. S&P, I missed that fill on the minis. Picks them up on these stupid little baby contracts. And like, by some, I mean like a handful, right? That's the only reason. I don't mind the micros because I can like start buying. For example, I started buying like 68 on the micros. I bought some at 70. I was gonna buy some down at like 63. Like it's fine. But I'll buy like a 5 point spread. I don't. It's okay. But with the minis, if I'm trying to buy that like spread out, I want to be more precise because I've taken a few decent stops on the minis this week. A few solid profits, but a few decent stops. I'm like, shit, do I really want to risk like $400 in like a flash of a second to get long this area? Well, ideally, retrospectively, now, yes. My God. We're going to go. Nas, come on, break a new all-time high. Trade 400 on Nas. Shallow pullback on the S&P now. Nice heavy volume around 75, 76. That's kind of an area I want to target, to be honest. If it pulls back there, I just want to keep getting long people. Like, we had some calls expiring from Monday or Tuesday, whatever the hell it was, that expired today. Deep in the money here. SPY triple Qs. Holy shit. If you picked up that long, that mid 60, right? I kind of fumbled that, honestly. Well done. I want to hold NAS to see if we can actually break 400. Might sell some puts on SPX for a day. One second, I'm trying to think here. 75, 76. I want that area to hold on the pullback for the ES. Minor area. Nasdaq kind of struggling around this 360. What the hell? The bonds have been diverging for quite some time now.
Put to try and fade, honestly, here, 83, 84. I'm not on the long. I haven't done any trades. Nothing for me here today, really.
That's it. Brian just YOLOing everything. Your long calls, long everything. You're gonna fade this fatty? We're pretty close to that 88. Want this Nas to break up. More, more. Am I gonna make up my losses from the week in one trade? That's exactly how it's done. I don't really have an interest in fading this. I'm just trying to like identify areas to get long on realistically. Nas up very nice though, like 90-point mover here on Nas. That's good. Like $1,600 a contract. Bonds and equities have been diverging for quite some time now, realistically. Um, what was that shit called? I'm over here mini-less on this long, on the ES at least. And even this like minor little pullback, where they pull that back to 81 and they just like rebid it.
Yeah. That's a good long bounce over there. I just chose to go short. Took a stop. I'm probably not gonna touch this again today, honestly.
Yeah, like if you're, man, it's a Friday. I'd be very, very cautious with this sell.
Yeah.
Just try to find little pullback areas to get along. Like I was looking at that 75. Obviously, I didn't freaking trade. Right now, I'm not very good at breakouts. I can't time the breakout very well. Um, oh my god, we trade 88 quarter to the tick. Let's see. If this area is actually significant or not. I'll tell you if it drops 10 points. Yeah, if I buy this breakout right now and I get stopped down at 84, I'm gonna be like shit. And I'd be like, why the hell was I buying a high? And I just keep buying. I trade anything besides equities. Nah, I don't. Like with when it comes to futures, like I just stick to Nasdaq and the S&P. Like I'm long like 8 micros on the S&P, which is like not it's not anything crazy, but like they're up about 20 points, so $800. That's not terrible. I couldn't fill the minis. I only wanted 2 lots anyways. Mainly because I think I was getting a little overcautious with the fills on the minis. I think there's still some trauma about instantaneous stops. this week, but I have some Nasdaq going long right now. There's a few little mini lots on the Nasdaq. It's up a decent bit, but between the S&P and the Nasdaq, right, there's usually going to be opportunity, especially with the Nasdaq. There's usually 30, 40 point movers on the Nasdaq pretty well. When it comes to other assets, like I'll trade individual stocks, equities, and like oil stuff on options personally. How much higher can we go? Looking for shallow pullbacks. At this point, the shallow pullback becomes like this mid 80 realistically. You get long 84, 85. Ah, if you're not on the side of this trend, right, the best thing you can do is not constantly try to sell it as it ramps up. Like, if you're trying to fade this and you're trying to sell it, there's only one specific circumstance where that's appropriate realistically. Um, and that circumstance was present yesterday. Yesterday, how this thing got offered, right, was back into these high 60s, right, mid 60s, which now we're above based on all that order flow, suggesting that that's going to be a massive support region where they're going to hold the bid. So with these, right, when you see massive, massive absorption, buyers getting stuck into the highs, and then the reoffer comes in consistently, 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 right? That when it's that obvious, when you have like huge delta, when you have all this massive order flow, and it's preventing from an upside continuation, and you start to see flips, new offers coming in, constant offer, offer, offer. That's when you want to potentially fade massive moves like these. In this circumstance, right, pretty much off the open, the only thing that was seen was just an infinite bid realistically. They just, it pulled back, they kept buying it, pulled back, kept buying it, pulled back, kept buying it, right? And then they held that bid into now what is 7 billion points higher, right? It's like a 30 point move off that low 60. Kind of fumbled that trade, that entry at least.
Yeah, me too. Around 68. I tried it. It was too. I was waiting too low, honestly.
5,200 under taps. I'm just gonna wait as long as it takes. Maybe it's all day for them to pull back. And by the dip, BTFD. This Dom is a constant barrage of buying. What else is interesting right now? Nasdaq running through that 400. That's very nice. Nvidia at 960. That's what I'm saying, right? I just sell puts on the SPX and just walk away and just leave it for the day. SPY is up $1 billion. What kind of stop do I use on NASDAQ? I use a 20-point stop, Ricardo. If you're trading with like less than a 10-point stop, yeah, I even think 10 is very tight. On NASDAQ, yeah, now that we're through a lot of these areas, pullbacks into that 360 area should hold realistically. This thing's up like a billion points right now. There's actually over 100-point move on NASDAQ. Selling puts on a Friday is kind of scary, but 0 days, baby. If this thing continues rocketing as it is right now, those puts are gonna be worthless. If they're like, if the value of the puts drop like 80% in the first hour, right? I think it's kind of stupid holding on to them until the end of the day. You take your profit and just walk away. Like these guys just keep bidding and bidding and bidding. Next stop 5,200. Is there going to be some kind of significant pullback before this occurs, or is that? I'm just looking at where there was like thick volume. That's not the point of control for the day, right? You have something around this like 83 as well. You got decent clustering over there. I don't know if we get there though. That's like a 10-point drop realistically in the S&P on this like very strong wave to the upside. There's no real um, heavy imbalances. There were just heavy buyers that stepped in there against some sellers. What did Jerome Powell say last year when they were talking when they asked him about unemployment and inflation and potential recession? He was like, honestly, if unemployment has to get to 10%, right, just to subdue inflation, that's what's going to happen. Haven't seen those figures yet, but they're not afraid to ruin it all just to get back to normal.
Yeah, you're right.
What the hell? Why am I getting ICT comments on these YouTube videos now?
I see what?
ICT, like that, like cult following.
Oh,
Inner circle trader, whatever. Insane cult traders. Yeah, bro, the fucking algo that's running the system is watching my stops. That's why I just keep getting stopped out on paper. Those are his YouTube streams. Paper trading and then blaming the algos for stopping him out. And then everyone's like coming to his defense, like, oh, bro, they're watching my ass. Level 7 data. I see everyone stops. But market makers don't look at retail stops. Like, don't get it twisted. Big money has like exposure, right? And that's the direction that the market wants to move. If the gamma exposure is up another 50 handles, realistically, the majority of the movement is going to be towards that area. Anyways. Anyways. Let's get fucking long and walk away for the day. If you're up massive, like, there's no point. I'll even just run this early exit. I'm up 7 billion points on NASDAQ, minus all of those. No, NASDAQ was a good trade, right? Like, I only filled 2 lots on it, but we got to that 400 area. We got above it. Like, what else do you want? I had to get a little. I tried to put some limits out, just got one fill and got filled on another one a bit higher on NAS. I was trying to fill 4, didn't fill shit, and that's it. Couldn't fill this S&P on the minis. Right, you saw me half-ass try, right? I think it was like one tick away from filling that 66. Honestly, that was my fault. It was stupidity. Right? I was too cautious. Too cautious. Did I try ICT first before judging? Why would I do that? I learned trading futures from like people who worked at desks at hedge funds trading real size. There's no backing behind the other stuff. Not to be a dick, but like there's no point in me trying a strategy that doesn't have consistency after finding something that does. I don't have any videos about gamma exposure, honestly, but like I think like unusual whales might. If they don't have videos, they have like a lot of resources. Holy shit! This is no pullback central. Yeah, like a lot. Honestly, a lot of different strategies can be profitable. Don't get me wrong, but like it. I don't know. I'm not gonna get started on this.
But like, can you execute them properly? See, like, yeah, as you said, like any strategy can be profitable, but you need to know it, like in and out the entries. Like doing it properly is actually
Yeah, and like
just
risk
needs to be
management
solid
realistically, right?
and the risk management.
Honestly, if like footprints, DOMs, and volume profiles are overwhelming, like you know what, I'm just gonna stop myself there because I'm gonna be mean. There's no point in doing that. Just have a good Friday. I'm not saying this is the one and only truth, right? I'm telling you from my perspective. And realistically, from a lot of backing, that like order flow and volume in essence, right, is the primary way that futures have been traded since the beginning of time, since the 90s. But again, a lot of different strategies can make money. The main thing is that there has to be an edge, and you, as the operator, have to be disciplined enough to be able to execute the strategy and execute risk management. Because a lot of it boils down to that, right, at the end of the day.
And even if you do that right, understand that you might get a market environment that doesn't favor that strategy at that time being, and you end up with a negative outcome.
Yeah,
If you
exactly. But that's the thing. Like,
through the process of execution as well.
that's very
Because
true.
like
But
some stuff works. Sometimes like okay, I'm used to like fading the edges or like big levels, for example. You can't do that right now. You know, like you have to take that in and factor the market conditions to what your strategy tells you to do and try to either stop or change something that you're doing as well. So doing that actually and having like maybe good execution but like a negative expectancy or a negative outcome at the end of like a month, it's very frustrating if you're newer. So yeah, any strategy can be good. It's just like yeah, it's a lot more about the operator than his.
it is for sure. Like a person itself. Like I think someone just said that actually. Mike was saying like the person themselves can be an edge realistically. Like edges can be found in like how you execute or you as a person, your appetite to risk, your whatever it is, right? Your some personal trait can be an edge in itself. Realistically, like
Absolutely.
the strategy that I deploy and use, even in this environment, it works fine, but it always comes down to the operator. Realistically, if you're not executing a strategy, no matter how good the strategy is, if my strategy, if I could execute it, or if I put it in an algo, let's say it has like 60-70% profitability, if you fuck it up, it's not like you're supposed to take losses, right? And like
Yes.
in any environment, in any system, any trade, realistically, you're gonna take losses, right? That's the thing. But as long as you can fish that out quickly soon and just like take it and walk away, or just like don't adhere to an environment that you know you're shit at, right? It's more of a long term thing. If you're sitting there trying to
Yeah.
constantly like beat your head and trying to grind this out when it's clearly not your game, like that's on you at that point, right? You take a loss, you accept it, you move on, you say fuck this, and then try it again another day, another market environment. That's fine.
Try to isolate the losses. Like looking like that's the best thing about like review is like okay, was that like was that part of the system and trade that I liked that just didn't work out, or was it the operator? Was I like on tilt? Well, is there a trigger for me in that environment? Maybe I don't shoot. Like I get triggered when I miss fills, for example, and that's why I like having a better average. So it's just yeah, try to work on the system. Make sure you know the system and executing it properly, as well as the operator and understanding your triggers.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
you guys did get me worked up. I'm over here just blasting everything. But this is a good point, right? As an old floor guy, to to me the ability to determine market direction context fairly easy, right? I think that's like the easiest thing that everyone learns. But like you said, at the end of the day, it's always about execution. Realistically, like that's all that matters. If you can execute well, like the shittiest strategy of all time with zero psychological edge, but you're good at executing, you can honestly make money.
absolutely.
Yeah, now I have to go and fight the dog for barking while I'm talking. Fuck. Where's the pullback?
Where would you try if it for a pullback like 78 to 80?
Bro, honestly, like down into this mid 80 is the first area where those like big buyers stepped in, like 84 ish. Otherwise, like I'll probably buy 75 if it pulls back down to there. Like there's a lot of volume that's trading into this high right now at 90. They got kind of stuck on the buy side. You can see a larger positive delta there. They're kind of turning over, but like I don't really see too much selling hitting this thing, right? There's not like aggressive sell side on this. But like, do I want to buy 87 right now? Yeah, yeah. What I could do. This isn't like super advisable, but I start buying some micros from like let's say 86 down to like 83, and then
Have your stop where?
like stop out at like 4 points. So then if that goes wrong, I start buying 76, 75.
See, that can be a strategy right there. You know, you find the light area that you're looking for a for a pullback. You average in, have your stop where it needs to be, and I think like over some like course of like number of trades, it will probably work.
The
If you
reality of it
stick
is
to
like
it.
if you if you're here, I might even try on these like minis if I can fill into this like let's say like 87, 88 if it pulls back into there. But like the thing is, I'll probably try it again lower if I get stopped out. But like the thing is like if you if you're directionally fairly good, right? If you can hit the direction, the areas very consistently, let's say like 80, 85% of the time, you have a very, very good understanding of direction, but your execution is absolute dog shit, right? You can work and work, try to get your execution up, but I feel like taking on more risk and having wider stops might be a better solution. I think YouTube
Yeah.
should be able to hear him.
Oh shoot, this is on YouTube. Sorry, but
No, what do you
you
mean?
know.
I've sworn like 17 times. One of the issues with this trade setup and idea here is that they got a little trapped into that 90. So even if we do pop, like we pop like 2, 3 points, like yeah, they might be wrong on this. I think like I think the better area on the S&P like might be closer to this like 85, 84 like for that. This was a little aggressive, I think. For that minor pullback here, if they're gonna hold it, but like realistically, I'm a little more keen into this like 75, 77. This is the thing, like for me, my fills aren't like that great generally, so I tend to have more trades realistically, because like I'll get fill like if I like I say I like 85, 84, then I go ahead and fill like 87, 88, which is like too aggressive. Like My entry should have been closer to where this thing like most recently peaked lower here, realistically. See if like my entry was close to 85, like we'd be in a much better standing currently. I should have been leaning on the fucking buyers that came in at that 85, 84 area mainly. But there's like a minor little ledge there. There's heavier volume that transpired there. But like I said, my entry 88, no bueno, no bueno. Heavy volume building up into this high. You got some guys like holding it down from that 90 as well. Yeah, I don't like this at all. I'll probably buy a lower on a more aggressive bid if it pulls down and takes my stop realistically, but I personally think it's going to be a little more difficult to get through that 90. POC shifts into the highs here.
Running that long too, like, God.
Yeah, you like.
It's holding, like it's holding. It's not just like the level is lower. It's more like there is order flow here. There is some selling, but there is some buying. There's a battle between the buyers and sellers. It is a shallow pullback. The safer entries are usually closer to a big level where you can hide your stop, but it just like this is also a qualified entry for me. A
I
lot of
just,
selling, try to push, a lot of buying coming in.
I just think I jumped the gun on the entry, honestly.
I'm feeling 87 half, bro. It's not
Yeah, 700 market sell. They just bid this shit back up.
I know. Like you bid everything since the morning. Now
I
these
know.
entries that no longer are gonna allow for like go.
I like it, but like I said, my entry was like it's not that good, honestly. Like if they can bid back above this 90 like with ease, you probably have a decent you got like a new high in you.
With ease is a tough ask though. Like it is like
But like
for like
what I
these
mean with
different.
ease is
Yeah.
like this is why I was
Those
buying micros from
micros.
86 down to 84, man, because I'm like I don't know where the hell the entry is. Okay, that was a
That's
nice
so
little
sweet.
push.
Uh,
There's your ease. Goes up like like four and a bit points. Like you have to, you can't um pull back under this 90. You know? Yeah. Show me what a real bid looks like.
Up to the upside feels good game.
Yeah, I didn't love that honestly because they're getting a little trapped into that 90 area.
The risky is for a continuation, guys. It was a good entry, good moment about 4 or 5 points, but right after the fall flight.
Yeah.
Short, quick enough for you had stops closer. You might have taken some off. I took two off the stuff, to be honest. So, not in a very good place myself. I might just start in the stops closer to break even. So it's like a scratch.
If I managed to buy the actual top of day, that would be hilarious, honestly. Come on, man. You're so close to that 5,200. This might be the high. The fact that they're kind of holding on the offer okay now. I wouldn't say it's a heavy offer. I'd say that mainly it's just a lack of buying into these highs right now. 90 gets offered. They're getting trapped at 90.
Out of break even on the risk. You can still hold the risk. It's still a viable trade. It just comes down to your, risk aggression. I'm kind of break even. I faded it once and I bought it once. Only two trades. Break even completely on the day, honestly. It's just more like I don't want to hold the risk of this pulling back. If you have more of a risk appetite,
Yeah, I feel like we've topped out, honestly.
just don't like the bid escaping from 86, 560. We're waiting on the bid now. Like this bid is like decreasing slowly, running away.
When we reoffered, we tagged like 92. It reoffers instantaneously back under that big, what's it called, positive delta. Like, I think that's it. Like, I think we can post highs for the day, honestly, or maybe not the day, but this is more initial move here. So much volume into this high, can't continue higher. Failed test.
Show me a fight in order flow. Show me some bids and I'll reinitiate the trade, honestly.
Nah, man, look at
I
these.
don't mind the area. It's more like show me a bid because there's definitely an offer. From 90 all the way down and smiling.
If this goes like turbo bid from here, honestly, I'd be a little surprised. Yeah, there's the offers. I ain't taking out on this. Had some profit. There it goes. That's okay. These offers are coming in super heavy at this point. Like they got trapped into that 90. I think I was just too slow to even like try to take one off earlier. No buying in this right now. I think that was like one last shot. You try to go 86 longs, they pop in at 92, and then that offer back below that 90. I kind of knew what I was getting myself into at that point. I'm okay with that. Here it is. Here it is. Let's see if they want to bid into this 83 area. I'll bite. I'll bite. And that should hold this 380, 370 area. You got a target region above this 90 realistically. If they can actually sustain that. Like 82, 83 might be a decent area on this S&P. Nice bid comes in, heavier volume from before. Let's see if I fill these. I'll eat one more long into this area. Into these like 82s, let's call it. When you buy the dip and the dip keeps dipping, oh shit! I don't mind it here. The is getting very,
Offer is letting.
yeah, is getting
Yeah,
very
the offer.
aggressive here on this. Offer is not letting up.
Offer's
I
kind
thought
of
that,
let that bit breathe, and then it like fades away quickly.
yeah,
So it's just like,
because like it rebid pretty decently. Like offer looked like it was disappearing. I liked it into this like 83 area. Then offer comes in and says, "Good fucking luck." Nas 370. I think this is a solid area for these guys to try and hold a bit. Honestly, here it comes. Come to me, daddy. This is what I call a pretty fat bid. I dump another here and then just let this one run if it wants to run. This is like
so.
I think into this 9 year is going to be difficult, and we could be in a transition point because there's just super heavy volume for these guys. This is what I mean. Like when you have an area that you see from before and it makes sense and you want to get into it, just like wait for that area. Otherwise, you dick around and you buy it once, you take a stop, then you have to buy it again, and then eh. What was the originating area, right? If you guys remember from earlier, the mid 80 area, right? 83 we can call it. What business do I have buying 88, right? Not logical.
Well, sometimes the market puts you in that position, honestly. Shows you a bit, then that bit fails, come back to your original area, then, that's when you get the continuation. Sometimes even it comes to the area, it fakes below it, then it rounds up. It's just, I think the more focus should be on, like, okay, I tried it once, it's still within my system, I'm still right on direction. Maybe the moment was, like, a little early, and try it again. I tried the same two trades as you. Second one is working pretty good. First one I kind of managed it differently. I
I
could
mean,
probably
I think you
manage
managed
it
it
for you.
well. You want to say?
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because like when I saw it pop 4 points and they started like holding on the offer at like 92, I was like shit, but I couldn't get out of it fast enough, honestly.
Oh, that's strong offer.
Yeah, like right now, this is what I'm saying. You get close to this 90 area, realistically, there's like a transition point in this market that might be holding out some kind of reversal here. You can see how top heavy we are. We have an immense amount of volume, and right now on this Dom, it's flipped more on the bear side where these guys are like offering much more aggressively, right? Every chance that they get, you're seeing a little heavier on the offer. So you get close to 90 area, realistically, these guys are, yeah, it's a bullish overall market, but they're going to want to defend what they had started.
I'm gonna head out, Vic. I
All
have
right.
like this dentist appointment. I'm actually late. I'll see you guys on Monday.
Enjoy, brother. Have a good weekend. Um, and we'll chat on Monday. Yeah, Mike asked me if I see a bull bear flip on the Dom, do I just close positions? I'd like to, right? But that little devil on my shoulder is like, hey, what if we see it out and this thing starts rallying like 20, 30 points? And then I'm like, okay, fine. But in this circumstance, like into this 88 area, like there's a bearish flip on this. As we're under this 90, like it's gonna take my break even out. As we're on the rest of this, but as we're into that 90, 88 trades, you get an offer. What's happening right now? Those guys are pretty trapped on the long side into that 90 area. Once we failed and a massive reoffer came back down through that area on the dom. Like we popped into 92, they just reoffer and just constant reoffer. We flipped on a bearish dom at this point. It's still a decent move, 5 6 points. Like, can't necessarily complain. Like right now, we're starting to see pretty big transitions here. Like I was late on that long. I fumbled getting long earlier, so you can see how much more aggressive the offer comes in on this. Bid was okay, 82 maybe. If there's like a fatter rebid, it could hold again. But like when you start getting into the 88 territory, 90 territory, and you see these guys actually holding an offer, you're honestly better off just walking away and running. I don't like the bid right now though. Not yet, at least. Yeah, I'd like to start flipping a little more bear, honestly. I want to see the next test, right? They're holding this 82 okay for now, but I want to see the next test into this 90. Maybe it doesn't even get there. I think like 87, 88 marks a decent area. I think we're starting to flip. NASDAQ, as long as we hold under this like 380, 400, I'm looking for the offer to come in and just like start slapping this down. Maybe with NAS there's a little more aggression on this, but I think we flipped, right? Everything's looking, you're getting more bearish order flow coming in. Every bid is getting wiped out. Shitty little baby bid. You're getting fat volume in the highs right now without the continuation. Stuck orders into the highs. You're getting a momentum flip, right? start shorting into this. These are very wide entries, but they're not really covered above that 90. I don't know if those fill. But tis what I'm doing. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, yeah. Little Big Bear 3120. I was like, which. Yeah, I think you're right. Like realistically, targets would be down to like mid high 60 to the downside and see if any buyers step back in there. Might have to start sprinkling some smaller contract sizing from this like 85 area. Nasdaq, like I think as long as this 380 area offers realistically, we'll start flipping down like 380, 390. Question is like, shit, do I get a little more aggressive and try to fill a little sooner? Mike, if I don't get filled on this, wait, wait. If 86 half is the high and we drop 20 handles, if 87 is the high and we drop 20 handles, that'll probably get filled. I only get filled one, you'll say MSA, MSA, MSA. If I get filled all and it just nukes my stop, then what do we do? Then what do we do? Then what do we do? Then we double up and we try it again. That's what I like to hear. I'm glad someone listens to me while I rant. Yeah, I'm sure. I am sure. I'm sure, but these guys are gonna have to start breaking this 80 if there's gonna be any real fireworks. I think there's like a temporary top in this, right? We can get a little pullback from here. I think they're a little trapped into this high, especially from that offer that we saw into that 92. That's my hypothesis. If they can't offer a little more aggressively down into 80, 82, like, I don't know. I start getting into the chop zone here where we're flying higher, lower, and shit all happens. The offer looked a bit better earlier. I'm not going to die with a bias on this hill. 300 on the buy side here. Ooh. 'm watching also this like 85 area. You've developed a decent clustering of imbalances that we're kind of above right now. See, like these guys into the 85, like they're trying to defend whatever the hell happened there before. 84, 84, 83s. There you go. 82s. They gotta start making new lows here though. Don't pull back. 82s, 82s. Nice offer here, 81, make a new low, you son of a bitch. Okay, let's force my hand on. I'm gonna take another one off into that. Because when you come down into an area where they got kind of trapped before, I really want them to run, but they kind of dilly dallied. But I'll leave this last one. 81s now. Nice bearish flip. Nasdaq down into that 50, 55. Michael, listen. I listened. The clustering of imbalances, it's another word for just like delta that appears, like positive and negative deltas that like stack up realistically. So like if you have like a bunch of positive deltas that like sit in a specific area, oh, this is pretty nice. Honestly, I might just go flat here and call it. Let's see. I'm just gonna flatten that to 79, 78. And then, yeah, so the clustering of imbalances, because like I only had one lot left. Like I have a bunch of these micros that are just flushing from the highs. We got NASDAQ too that's running amok right now from that 380 area. Like, and Q at 330, like 50 points on NAS. NAS has been great. 77s. If you still have some on the ES, just keep holding this. If you have like multiple lots realistically. The Dom was pretty bearish, just trying to find the way in. What I mean by like imbalances being clustered is like when you have all this like positive negative delta, how that's created is like on one side of the Dom, right? One side of the market order realistically, you have what's it called? Uh, if one side is like a lot bigger, so you have like these like massive positive imbalances, meaning more buyers than sellers, right? They create a positive or negative delta depending on who's in balance. So like at the high at 90, what we saw earlier today, you have positive like 1200 delta, right? These buyers are getting trapped into that high. So when they're getting trapped into that high at that 90, right? This is something that I was a little worried about when I got long, and like the first long was like shit, honestly. The entry was not good. If I got long 86, I would have been like okay with it. But you come into 90, and what I was telling Fatty is like you have to rebid above that 90 aggressively for this thing to actually continue. And then you get to 92, it reoffers immediately. Those longs are getting trapped in that area, and there's like really reactive sellers. So for me, I'm like, okay, shit, this is like you're starting to get the sense that we're topping out very heavy volume without the continuation to the upside. So you're looking at like if there's an area like 85 here, I'm pointing at the DOM as you can see it, but 85, 84, you can see larger deltas, right? Positive negatives that are sized up. When you have an area like that, it's a battle. And if you keep like rebidding, it becomes like a minor pivot throughout the day. So they bid it up, right? Reoffer 88, bid it up, offer, beat it up, offer, bid it up, offer. And then the DOM flipped bearish when we got that drop and we failed to move back above the 90 after that test into the 82, 83 area where we cared about. So in my perspective, when we were talking about a bearish DOM, you just get offer, 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 offer below those large delta areas like 90 where you have 1200 on the buy side, right? So these guys are getting stuck and there's a constant offer on the DOM. So when we saw that, that was the idea for the short to play out because the Dom now flipped bearish. Plus, you're getting a lot of people stuck into the highs. You're finding a top. You're finding a temporary top right now from that 88. We're down into 75. Right, I flattened those 78s. Um, I missed out maybe on 4 points on the minis, 5 points on the minis. I'm not that pressed, right? I'm up about what is that, like 80 points today from pre-market stuff as well. On the current day session, up about 25 points, not even 22 points. So it's pretty good, right? Two good trades. Long the 83s into that 88, short the 88, 78s, 80. Short some micros now, short the NASDAQ. NASDAQ as long as 380 holds right now, down 80 points. This right here, this is the Dom. Like you can see, okay, maybe you can, maybe you can't. Sorry. Where the fuck is it? It is kind of blurry, isn't it? Like over here, 1200 positive delta at 90, right? What happened? I got along the 88 at a. I didn't like the spot that much, right? I kind of rushed into it on that first long. It popped up like it was up 4.5 points. I got stopped eventually because I didn't take any of the profit. When you reoffer back under that larger positive delta, and you can see like 400, no, 200s, 300s, 200, 300s constantly on the Dom on the sell side. No one buying realistically. That's your flip. 75 traded here. This is the area. You can see large market buyer at 78, positive delta. Delta's clustering, heavier volume. This was the other area where I'd expect some of these longs to shape up around that 75 area. Honestly, right now, I'm just going to hold on to whatever shorts I have on different assets. Like NASDAQ up 80 points. Uh, the rest of these micros are up, what, like 12, 13, whatever it is. Fuck, I should have used ICT. Put the pull up. I'm looking at the I want to be a little more chill because again, right at the beginning of this week, throughout this week, I traded from behind almost every day. So like I wanna see if there's like anything very concrete for a buyer to step into this low 70, mid 70. Right now I'm not seeing it. If you really want to be long this, you want to see like huge buyers step in, positive deltas, or sellers getting trapped, or you just wait until you get back down to 65. Yeah, the left of the Dom is delta with like a volume profile on this Dom, for those that are asking. What do you mean when I say nobody is buying? I see a lot of heavy buy volume. How do you determine if nobody's buying? Well, there's a difference between heavy buy volume, light buy volume, and continuous heavy volume. Like, for the record, I'm not necessarily looking for long right now. By the way, right? Like, I'm just holding the rest of these shorts. So, I don't have any on these minis on the ES. I got one left on the NASDAQ. I got a few left on these on the MES here. Like, here, you guys give a shit, right? Trading on the MES. You got five left. This position's up about like $400, about 1,500 on the day from micros. So not bad. But I'm just trying to hold out some of this short so I can see that like mid 60 area. Um, the difference between a heavy real buy volume versus just like heavy volume that's coming in um, is like the reactivity realistically and the continuity. On the depth of market, like right now, okay, you're in an area where you have 65 and 68. You got two massive positive deltas throughout the beginning of the session. There was a constant churn of just It pulls down, rebids back up, pulls down, rebids back up, and there's continuity. So if there's heavy buy volume, right, 300-400 lots that are going in market buy at these levels, first they have to react if they're real, right? They have to shoot price up a little more aggressively, right, quickly. The next thing is they have to, if they pull back, they have to keep buying, like what's happening right now. The third thing is they need to continuously buy as they move higher. On the longs from the 82, what was happening is, okay, you run from 82 to 88, but as soon as you get to 86, 87, 88, the sizing of the buy volume starts to diminish very quickly, right? And there's no continuity in it. Right here, you're buying fairly heavily, right? 300-400s. Some sellers are coming in 500. They disregard that, and now they're continuously buying above the areas of interest. So when you pull back into this region, you want to watch 300-400s on the buy side. They're going to come in, and they rebid as it's trying right now, right? They're trying to hold the rebid with decent size on this, and it matters. Okay, let's say you're long. You get long 66, for example. You run into 71, 72. And like buying just completely evaporates, meaning that like you no longer have 300-400s coming in on the market side, on the dom side, right? So at that point you're like, okay, like there's no real pressure on the buy side to continue this move. Every few handles you want to see the big buyers stepping in and constantly buying more, higher and higher and higher. Right here, 65 to 68, this is like pretty much a line in the sand for these buyers to try to hold this price out. Realistically, I might even flatten this nose or whatever. Yeah, I covered that early too, Michael. Like it ran down to 68. I missed 10 points on the minis, $500 a contract, but I don't know. I have other longs on right. I mean, I have other shorts on right now. For me, I kind of just want to end the week on a good note because, or I should say on a more fluid note. That's a personal goal of mine. I'm not trying to break the bank today. I'm just trying to get back to basics. For me, that means just follow the plan, follow the system, and act on it. So I just want to get that down because then everything else for me flows properly. I think between 65 and 68 realistically is the last chance for these buyers to hold, right? If you're going to get long, it's going to be from these areas. Anyways. These are the main poll results for the day. Decent numbers here. And then this is from the early exit, right? Early exit, a lot heavier. So, pretty, I think good end to the week. Yeah, honestly, Andrew, the last 4 days, like, I started off on a pretty bad note. Like, I think every single day this week, I think, I have to check, minus today, I started in the hole about 20 handles on the ES. And then clawed back every day into the end of the day, which was mentally taxing and a massive bitch, so I don't necessarily want to do that. Mid 60s hold, frickin' surprise, surprise. Funny how that works. 1 second. I was doing some shit. So this is it. Like when you find order flow levels in key areas, right, based on volume and order flow, you can lean on them. Could I have taken a short off that 66 area? Yeah, sure, but I don't know. I like where I'm at today. I don't, like I said before, I don't want to press too hard. That Nasdaq short up 80 points. It's got some micros trying to run. Like all is good. All is good. It's difficult when you have a bad stretch realistically, and I think the most important thing is size down and try to trade or try to come back to the originating plan, right? Try to trade the system as fluently and as diligently as possible so you can get a bit more confidence back, you can get a bit more rhythm back realistically. pretty good day. 85% live positive today. So I think we ended that on a good note. I hope everyone that watched this live enjoyed. We'll be back next Friday on YouTube, but we'll be back on Monday with Trade Pro. Next week, I'm going to be gone from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, actually. So I'll be trading back on Monday. So only trading 2 days. You'll be in Fatty's capable hands. Actually, we won't be back next Friday on the YouTube Live. That's a lie. You'll be in Fatty's capable hands for 3 days. If you want to come check us out, check out TradeProAcademy.com. Email support at TradeProAcademy.com if you're interested in a trial and seeing what this is all about. And I'll see you guys in the room. Right? We got a open Discord community.TradeProAcademy.com. You can go and check us out there and message us. Last question here. Do you reference the IB in your trading? Yes, Michael, I do actually. For me, it's important to understand where the prior session IB is, where the prior extended hours session IB is, and also where we stand in the current IB. For example, today we have a very long IB. We have no prices outside of it. I expect slightly more of a balance today, realistically, even though it looks like we're getting very big moves. Expansion back under the IB. This initial move, right, it's getting a little more bearish, but I don't necessarily see it holding too much out to the bear side unless we start really, really dumping through this. I would say like 45 realistically. Under this 64 area, 62, I'd watch that. But yeah. Thanks, guys. Enjoy. Let's see what we got cooking for the weekend, and hold on. I'm holding on to some of these shorts. I want to see the potential of the expansion, and we'll go from there. So thank you, everyone. We'll be